From its headlands to its beaches and waterways, the southeast of England is surely one of the most beautiful corners of the country. Perfect for a walk in the crisp, fresh air. At this time of year, most of us just want to stay indoors and get through the cold winter months with a log fire and a good box set. After all, in the dead of winter, you might think quite reasonably that there's nothing of interest to see.
But that's where you'd be wrong. You just need to know where to look.
The natural navigator, aka Tristan Gooley, is going to show me and my dog Boris how to find our way around the southeast at this time of year, and why it's not so much bleak midwinter, it's more of a winter wonderland.
I'm Natalie.
Nice to meet you, Natalie.
So you're the natural navigator.
That's right, yeah.
So tell me what that means.
It's just finding your way using nature, the sun, the moon, the stars, plants and animals, even buildings. Everything's a clue.
And why do it in the dead of winter?
Well, winter's actually quite a fun time to do it. We've got fewer leaves on the trees, so we can look at some things we can't see in summer. But every day is a good day for natural navigation.
Okay, so where do we start?
We're gonna go on a small adventure, but the first thing we need to do is check the weather, and we'll see if there's some clues to tell us what the weather's going to be like today.
Okay, let's go. Come on, Boris.
But instead of looking down into a weather app, Tristan has got me gazing up to the skies to try and forecast the weather just by using the clouds.
Well, it's a day of lovely blue skies, but not perfectly blue skies, because can you see the mare's tails, as they're known, these wispy, very high clouds.
So you're talking about those sort of vertical ones, sort of stripes, like ribs almost in the sky?
Yeah, exactly, and they're sort of tailing away literally, and that can be a sign that the weather's going to change. It can be a sign there's a front out there.
But not definite? You're hedging your bets?
It's not a cast iron guarantee of anything, but the way I would look at it is, you know, there's weather law that helps us here. Mare's tails and mackerel scales make tall ships bring in their sails. So it's the sort of sign in the sky which says, you know, don't assume that this good weather's going to last forever.
Okay, I suppose we'd better make the most of it in that case, hadn't we?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this little adventure. How often do we get to unplug from the distractions of modern life? And if I could turn what I see into useful knowledge on how to get around and about, then all the better.
I was going to say we're on dry land, but we're not quite. This is quite boggy, isn't it?
Yes, and you'll notice all these green plants here, soft rush. If you see this plant anywhere, it means squelchy.
It is squelchy.
It is.
Let's get onto a drier spot. Now, the one thing I learnt in the guides was if you're lost in the woods, look for the moss growing on the side of a tree, and that will tell you which way is north. Is that right?
Well, that's what everybody thinks, Natalie, but moss is actually one of the most unreliable indicators out there. Yeah.
Really?
All moss is telling us is that there's moisture,
Okay.
and that doesn't make a very good compass. But there is something here which makes a fantastic one. Can you see this gold colour here?
Yes, yeah, I can.
It's a beautiful lichen, one of my favourites. It's called Xanthoria, and it loves light, and when it gets lots of sunlight, it turns this wonderful gold colour.
Yeah.
And we get most of our light from the south, so the more light this lichen gets, the more gold it gets, and that tells us which way south is.
That's incredible.
With Tristan using the compasses on the trees, we headed off into the woods and soon bumped into a familiar plant.
Oh look, can you see the soft rush here?
Yeah.
Loves the wet ground, so we need to watch where we step. Could be boggy.
Okay, thanks for the warning.
If you see one of these birches, it's a good sign if you think you're lost in the woods, because they tend to grow at the outer edges of a woodland.
It didn't take me long to notice some of the clues for myself.
Now look, Tristan, that is a colour compass, surely.
Yes, you're spotting it now, which is great. And can you see just here, we've got what looks like hair growing out of the tree.
Yeah, it's beautiful actually.
This is a lichen called usnea, and it loves really fresh air, so it's telling us we're in our own little patch of wilderness here.
Okay, so it's telling us the Sussex countryside is nice and clean.
Yeah.
It's fascinating getting to decipher some of the secrets the natural world has to offer.
Oh look, can you see the the lines in the sky
Yeah,
there.
yeah, they're quite big. Are they from planes?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we didn't see any of that earlier in the day, and suddenly we're seeing these great long lines spreading out and staying in the sky, and it's not a good sign.
Really? What does
Yeah.
it mean?
It means the air is getting moister, which means the weather's probably turning.
Okay, let's move.
It's the end of day one of our mini adventure, and Boris and I have really enjoyed our woodland walk with Tristan. Let's just hope the weather holds for the next leg. The following day, the winter sun had been replaced by wind and rain. Boris decided to take a rain check and stay in his basket by the fire at home, while Tristan and I hit Camber Sands.
Well, it's pretty cold and windy today, Tristan, but at least we've got the beach to ourselves.
Yeah, in amongst these fantastic dunes, which can always help us get our bearings, because can you see how they've been swept over by the wind, and our prevailing wind comes from the southwest, so the southwest must be out that way somewhere.
Brilliant. Let's see what the water's like. I suppose the thing about beaches is a lot of people like coming to them in the summer because they want the sunshine, hopefully, and to swim in the sea. What's the point of coming in the winter?
Well, winter is actually a great time to come to the beach because it's a time of action. The sea is really busy shaping and sculpting every beach.
And sculpting seems to be a good word to use, as at this time of year on a relatively empty beach, you can see the sea trying its hand at the visual arts.
At first it looks a bit chaotic, but when we actually stop to have a look at what's going on, you'll see that we've got some ripples here, but they've got flat tops.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's a sign that the water has flowed quickly one way and then quickly back the other way. That creates the flat top. But actually, the wonderful thing is, this is a work of art, isn't it?
It is.
And nobody will ever see anything exactly the same as this ever again.
And that's, I can tell, what you really like, isn't it? It's the artistry of nature on the beach.
Yes, it starts with a very practical side to it, and then it becomes art when you see all the pieces come together.
Oh, it is lovely. Should we go and get an ice cream?
We left the seaside and travelled to Rye, but can you really try your hand at natural navigation in a town?
This is a beautiful town centre, Tristan, but it is a town centre at the end of the day. So why have we come here?
Well, people think of towns as difficult to navigate in, but we can turn difficult into fun if we use the town itself as a map and look for the clues all around us.
Okay.
Almost every name in a town is trying to whisper something to us, and we've got a couple of nice examples here. You've probably spotted West Street there.
What can that mean?
Yeah, not too tricky. And then Mermaid Street here, alluding to the maritime past of the town we're in.
And if you thought Tristan's use of lichen on trees as a makeshift compass was inventive, well, you ain't seen nothing yet.
There's a really nice compass up here I'd like to show you.
Okay. So this is it, your giant compass.
Yeah, churches can be brilliant compasses for us in so many different ways, but the best one to start with is the alignment. Churches are normally aligned from west to east with the altar at the eastern end.
Okay, so why is that exactly?
Well, the altar traditionally would be in the direction of the Holy Land. Quite often it's not exact because the tradition again is that the church will be aligned towards sunrise on the feast day of the saint that the church is dedicated to. This is St Mary's Church and I believe the day in question is August the 15th and the sunrise is north of east in August,
Okay.
So we should expect it to be aligned a bit north of east.
It's not just the church itself that can help us find our way. The graves face a certain direction because of the beliefs of those who are buried in them.
Gravestones will be at the western end and the feet of the person who's buried will be at the eastern end.
For religious purposes, presumably.
Yes, on the day of judgment when the dead shall rise, they can be facing the Holy Land.
If you're ever struggling to find your way in the centre of a town, you just need to find a church, basically.
Most churches will give you a really good sense of direction.
So there you have it. If you can pull yourself away from your scented candles and fluffy socks, there's much to see at this time of year. From useful lichen to artwork by the sea. And let's not forget about using the church as a giant compass.
And surely this proves that we really do live in a winter wonderland. Come on, Boris. Good boy.